Back with us this weekend is criminal law specialist Lou Shapiro. Lou, thanks as always for your time. Given your expertise, how might this arraignment be different because the person set to be arraigned is the former president?
Yes, this is completely unconventional. Since this is the first time that we've had a former president being indicted and arraigned, all sorts of unusual plans are being made. For example, they are shutting down the streets and the perimeter all around the courthouse. Anytime a current president or former president goes to any type of public office, there's going to be extra security and a perimeter set around. So in light of the contentious and highly emotionally charged issue that we have underlying this prosecution, there's going to be that extra measure of security and perimeter set around the courthouse in this situation.
And along the same vein of unprecedented situations, Donald Trump has now announced that Tuesday night at Mar-a-Lago, he is expected to make some remarks and speak to his supporters and the rest of the nation. What do you think that will do? I mean, what kind of message does that send? Does that hurt his case at all? Usually you would think that maybe people wouldn't speak publicly when they're, going through this legal proceeding.
Yes, so unlike other proceedings where the defendant is advised to not speak, we can expect just the opposite. Former President Trump is going to be fighting this case just as much, if not more, in the court of public opinion as he will in the court of law. I think he's going to use his platform and his voice to send a message to the prosecution that this is not going to be taken lightly by him, that he is going to fight this all the way to the very end. As his attorney has already said, there will be no deals. So this is only going to be more amplified as the case proceeds in litigation.
And a Trump attorney argued that the hush money payment was a personal expense. Do you anticipate that being a major argument by Trump's defense?
So along those lines, what I anticipate the defense to be is multi-layered. As a defense attorney, we are able to argue in the alternative. We can present defense A, defense B, and defense C and say, you can take all of them into account. And one of them is that this was a personal expense, not a campaign finance law expense. There was even an article by a famed law professor in this weekend's Wall Street Journal where he talks about how the campaign finance laws are very limited to campaign finance payments. For example, signs, commercials, things of that nature. That all needs to be reported tightly and accounted for. This payment for a settlement, he says, does not fall into the confines of traditional election law. That's defense A. And we have defense B, which is that Trump can say, maybe I didn't even know about any of this. This was all being handled by people on the team, didn't inform me about it. I'm trusting my counsel, Michael Cohen, on the advice of counsel that he's handling everything correctly. That's another defense. So we're going to hear multiple arguments from the Trump camp as we lead up to a potential trial.
And the indictment remains sealed, of course, so we don't know exactly what those charges are. But given what we do know about the probe so far and about how prosecutors generally won't prosecute unless they're confident they can get a conviction, how strong do you think DA Bragg's case is here?
Well, from the limited information that we have now, the question that on many defense attorneys' minds is, Cohen was prosecuted for the election law fraud years ago. And the feds had all the evidence that presumably the DA's office has. And the feds decided at that time to not prosecute Trump. So it's very rare that the federal government will say, we're going to pass on this person. And then years later, the state picks it up. How does the state know better than the federal government? This is unusual, and that's going to be something that we will be hearing a lot of talk about as things go along.
Yeah, definitely interesting to see what comes out of that. Of course, the arraignment happening Tuesday, so all eyes will be on New York City as Donald Trump, former president, is indicted and goes to his arraignment hearing then. Lou Shapiro, thanks as always for your time and perspective.
Thank you, Alexa. See you soon.